Hey everyone, it's Ripper here. I'm going to blow your socks off today. There's going to be some crazy shit that you're going to see in this video. First, though, everyone be safe out there. Practice your social distancing skills. Also, I'd like to thank all the nurses and doctors, the people out there working on the front lines with this global pandemic issue. Thank you all for doing what you do. If you guys know someone who's a nurse or a doctor or a delivery person, a truck driver, or someone that's still out there working to keep this country moving, tell them thank you. You don't have to write up a big speech. Just go on their Twitter or their Facebook and just say thank you. Just let them know that you appreciate what they're doing. All right, this video was done February 20th on Eric Jose's channel. I'll put a link in the description so you can watch it. The video goes real fast, so if you don't know what's going on, it's hard to stay up with it. So I'm going to break the video down so that you can see what's going on, basically. But I'm going to read this. This is on the official Highland Community College Facebook page. This was after a newspaper article came out or a video came out or something. There's been quite a few newspaper articles. All you got to do is search ACLU lawsuit against Highland Community College, and you'll see tons of newspaper articles from the state of Kansas. Okay, so let's go here. Highland Community College President Deborah Fox has been in contact with the NJCAA regarding the status of NJCAA rulings on a recent investigation into one of the college's athletic programs. Now, it does say NJCAA rulings. I've not seen or heard of any rulings from the NJCAA on this, so I don't know if there are any rulings actually. The NJCAA has indicated, and the athletic program is the women's basketball team, which on December 20th, they suspended all 3 coaches. We'll get into that. Actually, let's get into it right now. They suspended all 3 coaches on the last day of the semester. So basically, schools closed. There was nothing that anyone could do. Coaches were not allowed to talk to players or anything. They had to be quiet while this staff at this school went around running their mouths saying, oh, they cheated. They did all this stuff. It was so blatant. I mean, and I got reports just as of last week that this athletic director is still going around running his mouth talking about how blatant this cheating was and all this evidence they have. Well, Mr. Athletic Director, if that's true, why did Deborah Fox send an email to Coach Ross last week that basically cleared him of any wrongdoing? And he was in charge of academics. Why did you guys reinstate the head coach if you had all this evidence? Why would you reinstate the head coach? Why would you send an email to the guy in charge of academics saying that there's nothing there? Why are you still going around running your mouth? Are you trying to sell a story or something? Because eventually it's going to come out. There's a lawsuit. There's going to be a discovery process. There's going to be a subpoena for records. Whatever was sent to the NJCAA, that stuff's going to be looked at. Emails, servers. You can delete all the emails you want, but you can't delete them off the servers. And a message to some of the other employees at the school that are on Twitter saying some crazy outlandish things. Let me just help you here. The Department of Justice may or may not be involved. The Department of Education may or may not be involved. The NJCAA may or may not have information about all this stuff that's going on with discrimination. We know the ACLU is involved because they filed a federal lawsuit. We know the NAACP is involved because they were quoted in newspaper articles. But let me tell you, you know that there's a code of conduct for employees at colleges. I'm going to show you guys some pictures of some of the stuff on Twitter that the assistant softball coach is saying, and also the financial aid person at Highland Community College is saying. And then also, there's a person that has a Twitter account. They're hiding behind this account saying a lot of stuff. If that account is linked to an employee somehow, I mean, it's not that hard to find out if the Department of Justice is involved. The Department of Justice can subpoena or get a warrant and find out the IP address. And they'll find out exactly who's posting that stuff. So if you're an employee and you're doing that, I mean, how can you be so stupid? I mean, this is not, you don't have to be smart to know what's going on here, but I'm going to post some pictures of some of the comments made by some of these employees. And I would assume the Department of Education is probably going to frown on some of this stuff. All right, so let me get back to this right here, and then I'm going to break this video down because there's really good evidence in this video that, like I said, in my opinion, shows that these people are flat out lying. And oh, before I do that, Doral, dude, you want to stare me down at a basketball game? Do you think I'm scared of you? I'm not scared of you. Dude, you staring me down, you know how stupid that is? Dude, get real. All right, so back to this. The NJCAA has indicated is still reviewing the information provided, which we don't know what that information is, but I bet you the court records will show it. And they'll be issuing a letter soon. This was over a month ago. I don't know if there's been a letter or not. The college won't say if there is or not. But let's skip down here to where it says, the investigation has been mischaracterized as orchestrated by the current athletic director, Doral. The allegations that Doral, I'm not going to say the paper mill doctor thing, majig, was somehow involved are blatantly false. All right. While paper mill Dr. Doral has been kept informed as the investigation progressed, he wasn't on staff when information was first brought forward. Okay, well, I have some audio recordings that we're going to play in this video where she says it was brought forward in October. He was hired in September. You know, if we do the little calendar song, you know, it's September, October. September's before October, so he would have been hired because he was hired in September. So let me go to the beginning of this video. She says here he was not involved in this investigation. But let's go back to the beginning of this video, and I want you to listen to what she's saying. This is Deborah Fox's voice. Listen to what she says.
Our athletic director. We just met with the students. Our athletic director. We just met with the students. Our athletic director. We just met with the students regarding the report of academic dishonesty. Regarding the report of academic dishonesty. Our athletic director. We just met with the students regarding the report of academic dishonesty. And I'll tell you what I know and what I can share. There's certain things I can't as we're in the middle of an investigation. What happened.
Okay, so she right there announces him. This is a meeting with parents of the women's basketball team, but she announces him at that meeting and says they just got out of a meeting with the players regarding this academic dishonesty. Now, if he didn't have any role in it, why is he meeting with the players about this? But just wait, not only did they meet, he actually talks to the players because there's recordings of that also. So let me continue to let this play.
What happened was that about mid-year, about October.
Okay, did you catch that? She says about mid-year, October. Now, what she means is mid-semester, mid-year of the school semester. That would be October. So she says what happened was mid-year. I believe what she means is mid-semester, that October, this is brought to them. She says it here. Listen.
Mid-year, about October, a question was posed to us regarding eligibility. And so we began to try to answer the question. It was by one of our board members. So we contacted Learning House and said, can you hold?
And in this statement by the school, they said he wasn't on staff. But he clearly was. You can go and look in September. There's newspaper articles that show he was hired in September. He was on staff. So why are they saying he wasn't involved? What's their play? Why would they do that? What is it that they're trying to do to separate him from this investigation? Why would they do that?
Pull this back end data so we can see what happened.
I understand. I'm empathetic to this. This was not an easy decision, but the only person that's responsible for this is BJ Smith. Yes.
Couldn't you at least could have had kept Zen?
That as far as what information we do have was egregious enough that it warranted suspension right now. Okay? This was not an easy decision. We understand how this affects everybody. We are concerned with your kids. I'm very concerned with your kids. I'm very concerned whether they graduate and go on and get recruited to schools they want to go to. There was ample information in just one instance. This has not even been looked at with previous seasons. Okay? There was so much information that it was not even, it's the worst thing I've ever seen.
So,
Working in college sports for 25 years. Just like with Kate, if anybody wants to transfer, we want everyone to want to be here. If they don't want to be here, we've released anybody from their obligation.
Okay.
We have done that.
that he was doing anything wrong, and you all never told him that.
Ma'am, I have been in college sports for 25 years. What we are seeing with the data is obvious and intentional.
BJ there.
Mine work in your office. So
Okay, so let me pause this. He says it's so obvious and intentional. They had this overwhelming evidence, yet they reinstated the head coach. They sent an email to the assistant coach who was in charge of academics saying there was no findings regarding him, yet he was fired. They fired him before they even did an investigation. They didn't ask anyone any questions. They didn't do an investigation. They wanted to get rid of this program, and they wanted to get rid of these coaches like they did the head football coach. Because the football team and the women's basketball team, those two teams were predominantly African American student athletes, and that's what the people in charge at this college, allegedly, do not want there. They don't want these people there anymore. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep playing this video.
if I upload my work in your office, that doesn't mean that you helped me. That doesn't mean that you did my work. That just means I used your computer.
Which should have never have happened.
Wow.
You don't use the coach's computer?
You do
Computers
not
all
use
the
a coach's
time.
computer. You do not use a coach's
Is that a rule that's in your handbook?
No, but that's.
Okay, so then
No,
you
if
just
it's not, you
just
just
specify.
answer it. If it's not in, if it's not written, it's not, no,
It is in their
no.
contract to
cannot.
understand the NJCAA rules and what that presents when they do something
It's in
like
whose
that.
contract?
It's in
It's
the
not.
coach's contracts.
I would say
But it's
that
him.
it's not
That's what he's
simply
trying to do.
where
Trying to
information
raise
was
you to
uploaded
say
from.
that's
It's
why
not
they're raised
just
on
IP
staff.
addresses.
I know that.
Okay,
That's correct.
it's not just IP addresses. It's not just, and it's not one. It's all. Okay, it's obvious. It's flagrant. It's intentional. There's.
So
I
you're saying the
understand-
coaches are doing their homework?
We're not at liberty to discuss.
So there's nowhere possible one of them coaches can come back.
No.
So there's nowhere possible one of them coaches can come back.
Now, the statement says that this athletic director has no role in determining the suspensions. However, when you listen to this, I mean, this is what I hear. I hear the question asked, and I hear two people say no. Now, there's only two people in the room that would say no, that would have the ability to say no. And that's the two people who work for the school. The parents aren't going to say no. They don't have that power to say no, they can't come back. But if this athletic director has no role in determining the suspensions, why is he answering this question? Why is he saying no?
None of them coaches can come back.
No.
Wow.
When this is done, we will share this with you
So when will it be done?
as soon as we can.
That ain't gonna be.
So you got
it's already done.
Yeah, they already got their bar made up.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's sad that we receive text messages from parents at other colleges.
I done got inboxed
Or
on Twitter.
people saying that they talk to you
Yep.
and you say certain things, but you don't tell everyone.
It's already out there. Yes, sir.
Yeah, they said, they have said, a lot of people have got texts that you have told a lot of people.
Now, the parents are talking to the athletic director, and they're saying that they got messages from parents from other schools who know about this investigation before they found out. They're saying the athletic director is calling parents at other schools trying to get this story out, basically. He's so hell-bent on getting this story out so that people will believe it, so that when they fire these coaches, people will go, well, this is what happened. But what if that's not what happened? What if this is a lie? What if the stuff they said is a lie? For example, why would they send an email to the assistant coach who was in charge of academics saying that he's been cleared? I mean, if this stuff was true, why would they clear the assistant coach that was in charge of academics? And why haven't they stated that publicly to any? Why isn't there a news release about that? And why is the athletic director still going around as of last week, still trying to sell this story to people at the school about how bad this cheating was, if the head coach has been reinstated, is still there? None of that makes sense, because if you have so much evidence, you wouldn't have the people, you wouldn't reinstate them, and you sure in the hell wouldn't send them an email saying you've been cleared. The only reason that you would put a story out like this is because you need people to believe your lie, because there's power in numbers. So the more people that believe it, the better off you are, apparently, but that's not how it works when you have factual evidence. So, these employees up there that are running their mouth that don't know what's going on, you guys should really look into what's happening. You should look into the actual evidence instead of being sheep because you're scared of losing your job.
Send that to the NJCAA.
Yeah, before us. That's crazy.
That there can be no reason that you would ever be on a coach's computer. And there can be no reason as it's justifiable that a coach would ever upload your homework. But from what we can see at this point, it appears that that may have occurred. That there can be no.
All right, let me pause this to explain what's going on. This is a meeting that they had with the players 15 minutes before this previous meeting you were listening to. In the meeting where the athletic director said, that it was overwhelming evidence and it was intentional and all that. This is a meeting before that, and this president says something may have happened. Now, what changed between this meeting and the next meeting to where this athletic director was so certain about all this overwhelming evidence? Because if you listen here, you're going to hear him say they don't know what's going on. So did he just get mad because the parents were asking these great questions, and he just got mad and opened up his big mouth like, there's only one person responsible for this, and it's so overwhelming? I mean, he's telling his story again. Is this what happened? You listen, you tell me. You're smart enough to figure this out, I think.
Reason that you would ever be on a coach's computer. And there can be no reason
justifiable that a coach would ever upload your homework. But from what we can see at this point, it appears that that may have occurred.
Not
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay, I see.
But
It matters
It
to
matters.
them how we handle these situations, very much. Where we take the appropriate steps to handle it with integrity, or we act as if it didn't happen. Those steps create an impression with them on what our intentions were. And then you can have a discussion whether it was intentional, unintentional, was it a lack of information, was it a organized effort to do people's homework? I don't know. But we have to go through those steps to find out. Every one of these men running this program knew these things. Okay? I understand your disappointment. But we are adults when we take these roles working at institutions. And then you can have a discussion whether it was intentional, unintentional, was it a lack of information, was it a organized effort to do people's homework? I don't know. People's homework? I don't know. People's homework? I don't know.
That he was doing anything wrong, and you all never told him that.
Ma'am, I have been in college sports for 25 years. What we are seeing with the data is obvious and intentional. Okay? There was so much information that it was not even, it's the worst thing I've ever seen.
So,
Working in college sports for 25 years.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Writing.
All right, so here's the assistant softball coach. Here's a copy of an announcement that Highland put out about an article. He says, I'll comment about this at a later point pending the outcome. However, the outcome hasn't happened yet. But as you'll see, he does make statements. And what he should be worried about are the softball players who were paid to do softball lessons in the wellness center. That's what he ought to be worried about. So here, February 14th, so the worst thing, not that. Please understand the articles you are reading are full of deception and lies. Total deflection from the issue. Well, what's the issue? Isn't the issue discrimination? People always try to make an excuse or blame someone else for losing their job. Let's remember you saying that. In reality, some people's egos won't allow them to admit their wrongdoings, hiding behind the lies. Now, I wonder who he's talking about there. So let's go to some more here. Just think about one thing. How can someone be guilty of something when they weren't even in their current position when it supposedly happened? Wait, we aren't including facts, just lies. I forgot. Well, the beginning of this video, the facts are he was hired in September. She states October. So it's a fact. So who doesn't have the facts? Yeah, let's keep going. There's another one in here somewhere. The bad thing is the kids he's got believing. Now he's talking about the women's basketball coach here. The bad thing is the kids he's got believing he cares about them are all the ones who will just take the brunt of it all in the end. They're just a pawn in his little game. He better understand that what he is trying to deflect from are the only real facts in all of this. The truths will come out. He's blaming our new administration for all of this, and the only thing they are guilty of is actually holding someone accountable. He's just wanting to go back to the many years of getting away with absolutely everything with no consequences. Truth. Well, let's put up the proof of what you're saying there. Where's your proof? You talk about facts and all this stuff. Let's see it. Bring it out. Let's see it. And I'm sure the Department of Education loves to read this stuff from an assistant softball coach who had softball players being paid for lessons in the wellness center. All right, so let's go to the financial aid person. And this is the financial aid, or she works in financial aid at Highland Community College. Now, this tweet she did delete. You can't find it on her account anymore. But she does say, you do realize you're hurting your brother in returning to campus more than helping him now, right? He has to work with us daily. So what kind of threat is that? Is that they're going to hold something against him because he stood up for these kids and he stood up to these people and their malicious lies? What does that mean? What kind of threat is that from someone who works for the school? We'll let the powers that be handle that. You know, the fact that they had to remove it off their page tells you enough, in my opinion. Anyway, everybody, stay safe out there. There will be more coming on this story because there are things behind the scenes that you just will not believe. Take care, everybody. I'm out.